All right, folks, how you doing? Welcome back to Limbs with Unity and Supabase. Um, my name is Bronx Mike, and let's get started. All right, this will be a short one today, not too long, but we'll get to it as soon as we can. Okay, so last time we worked out let's see, we leveraged the power of just UI, the canvas and the UI, and then some plugins such as Miskinsky plugin, and then we used Supabase, and then we use enhanced scroller to be able to scroll things as much as we want recycle, right? So we'll give you an example. uh, we did it with logger, where we log things to the screen, right? We made a service out of a scriptable object, and here we go. Okay, so the logger screen here, as you can see, it just keeps scrolling, 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 scrolling. Now, all these, what you're actually seeing is these two right here, they get recycled once they pass this boundary box here, this mask here, and the same for going up. Okay, so you get some infinite scrolling. So every time you pass a certain amount, it queries the database and some more, right? Actually, let me just turn this off here. Content, scroll view. I think that's, no, that's that one. I believe it was main panel. Okay, so we did that with also with that, right? And so we want to leverage this for the actual list of 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 the tables, right? Like sample, right? So we want to be able to, you could either paginate it or you could actually do infinity scroll. And that's what we do in infinity scroll. What you're doing is that when you reach the end of the list, it just recycles, and it queries and recycles at the same time. Reason being is because each one of these is a prefab, right? And you don't want to keep instantiating them in a long list, because you're just gonna suck up memory, and it's gonna do it. So it's basically like an object pooler, but for UI. Okay. All right. All right. So all right. So let's go through over this again. All right. So we're still not running as it's supposed to be. We're still having some issues, but we'll fix that on the next video. When we leave it at a cliffhanger. All right, and which is always the cool part. All right, so we have first we used the movable window. I like the movable windows because from the modern UI pack, that way the user can just move it around all they want. And then later on, I'm gonna show you where when you click on the bar, it's gonna go come to the front, and everything else is gonna go to the back. And that way you could just click on it just like Windows. Okay, so it'll work just like Windows. All right. Okay, so we are gonna leverage. So we did that, and then in content, what I did is I made a header object panel, which is just a panel. And if you could see here, it's just a layout element, and in the content, I made that a layout, vertical layout element, right? And we started with the upper left. You could do with the middle, right? Whatever. You could do padding if you want. I think padding is pretty cool. Yeah, padding is pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, if you want, if you don't want, I mean, you don't have to. This is fine. And then the spacing is important too. So it's a good idea to do some spacing, but on this one, I don't think we really need it. We really want to make it look like it's just part of it, and it's just really just doing that, right? And so we go to scroll view here, and I made a we like I said, we are leveraging several um plugins, right? One is enhanced scroller, right? And the other one is the table layout. Okay, so let's start from the beginning, and then we could just finish off with a with a bang, what have you. So okay, so I'm just gonna put this as okay, and so what we're gonna do is gonna go to uh, I think I did this already with you guys with movable window, modern UI pack movable window. So that pops up, right? And so you can name it whatever you want, but just for the sake of brevity, we're just gonna just just delete that part, right? And so on here, we are going to put in a layout, vertical layout group. Okay. And then we're just going to click these off and put these on. Okay. And then what we was doing? Um, Sample window. Yeah, sample window. There's no, not that one. Sample panel UI. Gotta name that different. Oh yeah, the header. We're gonna do the header, right? So we're gonna do right click on here, and we are gonna say UI panel, and we're just gonna name that header. Rename that header. Header, correct? And then we're gonna make that into layout element, correct? And then we're gonna do a flexible width because we want to always take up the whole width. And then the preferred height, I'm gonna say 50. 50 is pretty good. All right. Even though that's a little big for that one, but we'll keep it for that for right now, right? But we also want to right click. Now, if you know your rows that you want to do, I'll bring this up. Okay, we want to do hold on a second. There we go. We want to do the window capture. There we go. So if you know your database, right? All right. I had a boss one time. He says, "You need to know every table, row, and column by name." I, I, I I think he thought he was being old school smart, and it's really not. That's not what computer science is about. Computer science, you always, I mean, you look up your reference. Things change all the time. It's supposed to be dynamic, so what was the purpose of that? Just being an asshole? He's just being an asshole. He didn't do it to other people. He did it to me, but that's different. So if you know the column name, like patient name, status, priority, whichever one you need for this particular thing. So we'll do that here. Okay. So we'll go back to this. Go back here. Go here, and then we'll do this. You're gonna right click here, right? Can you see me? Can you guys? Oh no, no, you can't. All right, let's go. Let's just make sure you guys can see. All right, you're gonna right click on header. You're gonna go to UI, and you're still not seeing it. Still not updating. All right, gonna right click here. Gonna go to UI, and you're gonna go to table layout and add a new table. All right, and so they said we want to add uh, one row. You need one row, and you need to add 3 columns, right? So I'm still not showing. Okay, so I added 3 rows. I guess that's the way it goes. I added 3 rows. Is it? Let's see. Capture. No, delete that. Oh, I see why it's not showing. Remove. Yeah. Remove. Yes. Okay, let's see if you could see the update now. All right, so let's see if you can see the update now. Can you see it now? It's showing. No, it's not showing. Well, we right clicked on the header file and then we went to UI table layout and then we selected three columns and then we're gonna name the columns, right? And so that's gonna be our row. And then you're gonna click on this. Is that showing up here? Hopefully it is. Yes, it is. Okay, thank God. So we're gonna click on the cell and then we're gonna click on the cell and we're gonna click on you still not can't see the text. We're gonna add a text to it. And then you're gonna align your text, whatever. And then I'm gonna add some margins to it because as you can see, it's just overlapping the lines a little bit, right? And then we're gonna center vertically and horizontally, and we're gonna say name for the patient, and then on and on and on and on. Okay, so we're gonna do that for the other rows as well. And then we're gonna say status, boom, right? So we're gonna right click, copy, paste, values, status, And we do it for the same for the last one, right? We're just gonna skip that part, right? I'm kind of lazy today. All right. So then you have the actual content. So if you see over here, on over here, so we got it working on the content. We need a scroll view, a viewport, and a content. Okay, so we'll do the scroll view with that. So look over here, and we want a scroll view. Okay, all right, and then the scroll view, you are going to have. Actually, we'll just copy and paste that, so we could just hurry up. I'm gonna copy and paste. As you can see, it took out. So we need to add a layout element for this. Why didn't it work? Maybe because I did something wrong. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, and I didn't add a vertical layout group header, and it's not actually in there. It needs to be actually in there. All right. So in our scroll view, we have a scroll rec here, right? That's definitely, we got to add an enhanced scroller, correct? And then in the sample panel, which we're going to go over right now, layout element, I got to get rid of this layout element as well. And now we add the sample panel, but we also gotta do a prefab, and the prefab is just gonna actually be the header. You could just rename it, and then you gotta add a prefab script to it so you could get the data in there, and that's what we did here. So all basically it is just, let me show you the window capture. Boom, boom. Is it this one? There we go. Then we fit the screen. Okay, so all it is you just referencing the text, right? And then when you set the data, you actually grab the sample, and then from the sample, you're just gonna grab the data and you're gonna change it to whatever format you need, right? So if something's a integer, either cast it or go to string, and it'll make it that, right? Um, the cool thing about table layout plugin, it's that hold on a second, sorry about that. It's that you can actually put buttons in there or reference something else, uh event bus and all that, and which are we going to do, right? So this is one of the good reasons why we're using event bus, because you don't know what's going to be instantiated in this front in this domain, right? So, and then the reason why I chose enhanced scroller is because we have a set of users that we don't know what's going to happen. They may be only have a small set of samples, or they could be a big company referencing millions and millions of samples at the same time, or whatever, or thousands of samples. So you need to do that, right? And then doing it this way with enhanced scroller, with you are recycling the UI, you're never gonna run out of memory that way. Because what you're doing is you're just recycling and curing the data. It's just gonna be a JSON file, a text file, and you could, if it gets too big, you just get rid of what you're not using right now, and then you just use it. Okay, or which is good, which is better. The better way is like you set a limit, so that it's the size of the JSON data is no more than 50 lines, right? So if you need to go to 51, you'll get everything between 40 to 60, whatever, right? 40 to 90. And then if you go above that, and then you get the next sequence, you get this next sequence, but the previous ones get deleted, so it gets rid of or replaced, even better, replaced. And so you never run out of memory. The memory is always constant. So you have no slowdown. You might have a little slowdown on querying depending on your network, but that's just, you can't help it. Plus, you keep a limit of less than 3 seconds for curing. Okay, and so that's really good. Oh, you lurking a bit? Oh, thanks. All right. So let's go over the actual data. Okay, let's go over the actual script. I'm sorry, the actual script, right? So we're gonna so this is what that's what you're doing. You're setting the data for each one, right? Now in the actual window, the scroll view, enhanced scroller, sample panel UI, right? Okay. Now we already started our service. We already got our service, our Supabase service, which is called Hasuru, whatever, you know. I can't pronounce it. Right? And so it's working, it's crunched in, but we'll fix that in the next video. Okay. Uh so we set the max results, which is 50. Okay, which is good, which is a good size. I don't think people are gonna be able to. I mean, if you want to, you could do make it 100. You can make it 1,000, but I suggest a 50 to 100 is good because that keeps the query from being too long for the network, right? So if you have a slow network, then you could slow it down, and then all this stuff you could set it in a screen call or pop up or modo, say user preferences, what have you, and that way IT or the user could set what they're patient enough to handle, right? So if they want fast query, you do 50. All right. So then we have the active row, which is the list of the rows, right? We're gonna need that, which is just a list of the prefab that we see. That's all it is, right? Prefab. Like again, we use enhanced scroller. Don't make the prefabs too many prefabs because it will slow down even with enhanced scroller. Okay. And then we load it. Here we have a method that loads. Remember, we're using Unitask for everything because it's a lot more efficient than coroutines. We load the samples, right? And but before we do that, we're gonna make sure that the authentication service is authenticated and you're logged in. You don't want people messing with the data. Um, I'm seeing data they're not supposed to, right? But later on, we could actually put in row base rules, which means uh uh, the lab techs could see the samples, but those who are testing can't, or whatever. Somebody else can't see the like. You don't need if you add a inventory module to this, and people are just in charge of inventory, they shouldn't be able to see samples, right? So you set that here, okay? Um, and then the sample service, right? With the sample service, let's take a look at that. Right, the sample service leverages Bootstrap service asset, right? And also references the actual query, not the query, the database service, right? So as you can see, it's critical service. We grab this, we get the again, we authenticate, we make sure that is they're authenticated. I mean that they're logged in, and then we have the response, and then here goes the service for the login service. Then we have the patient service. Then we have a module, and here goes the database service. That's what we're using. That's our CRUD service. I'm calling it the CRUD service because I can't pronounce that. All right, and then if everything fails, you know it'll give you a message, and then that message is going to be reflected on that logger service that we had before. We grab the sample data, blah, 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 and then return it. And that's pretty much it, right? And then sample service. So we added another layer. So we have our database service, our CRUD service, and then, but we still need to feed it queries to it, right? Or migrations, whatever, you know, and this is Supabase. They call it something else. But, and then, it gives you any errors, and then it returns a task when returns a completed task when it's done. When it's done, we create the samples async, right? And so we start, as you see here. Oh, sorry about that. As you see here, we have the queries here and all that. This is the columns that we are trying to get, right? So if you want to represent all these columns, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. You delete them if you want to, whatever. But that's what you do. Okay. And then we have some events that we published it, that we got the samples and all that. So that's sample service is used. Okay, so sample panel UI uses sample service, and then sample service uses the CRUD service, which is the Haskara whatever service to Supabase, and that's how you pretty much do it. Okay, and then sample, what sample does, what it's going to feed it to enhanced scroller, and enhanced scroller is going to see if we have a prefab, which we have set over here. Right here, sample row prefab right here, which we made, and then it handles the instantiation and recycling of the list. Okay, all right, all right. And like I said, this is going to be a short one. I'm going to show you what's going on, and we'll come back tomorrow and we fix it tomorrow. How's that? We'll give it a second while this is loading up. Okay, so that's what we do. So basically, you make a header, and then to save some time, you can make a header as a prefab. That'll be your row, right? And then you add the script. What was the script name? Which would be sample row view, right? That loads your data into when you reference all the text to it, and then after that, you assign it here. Like I said before, on scroll view, you assign it here. On viewport is the row container, and on sample row, okay? And then your max results, I don't want it to be 500, I want it to be 50. Okay, 500 is a little bit too much. And then I'm gonna show you the bug that we have, and we'll come back next video to fix it. All right, so we're gonna load it. Okay, just turn these off for right now, and then we're gonna go sample panel, and here it goes. As you see here, all the rows are crunched in, and this is what we're gonna fix tomorrow. So come back tomorrow to see how we fixed it. I broke it on purpose so I could show you these are the mistakes that people do often. So we're gonna fix it tomorrow. Okay. But here's my shout out. Shout out to Lady Rain, who's my best follower yet. Shout out to uh, Roy Lyons Muay Thai Gym. It's great in the Bronx. Just look it up, Roy Lyons Muay Thai Gym. There's only one of those in the Bronx. Uh, but also, if you like the content, follow, subscribe, like, whatever, what have you, so we can continue on with the series. And I'll see you tomorrow and I'll show you how to fix it. Bye.